Ciao everyone and welcome back to a new episode of, Summer Songs 2026. Today we are going to talk about a song which can be considered one of the Tormentoni estivi 2026. It's not in the top 10 right now, but until last month it was played everywhere, and of course it is also a bit of a personal choice because we are talking about a new song, a new single by Pinguini Tattici Nucleari. So far we had a severe lack this year of Pinguini Tattici Nucleari. To be fair, it is one of those bands that I personally like. It's quite rare for me to have like a band or generally an artist whose songs in albums are for me all enjoyable, because generally when I listen to an album or an artist song there are always some songs that I skip. This is not the case of Pinguini Tattici Nucleari. Generally, when they release an album or generally when I listen to their discography, there aren't really songs I skip. So I saw that they released this summer song and I said, perfect. So, what is this about? Sorry, scusa, lo siento. So, for the translation, it is very funny because it is always the same thing being repeated. So, sorry, it's just that it is in English, in Italian, and in Spanish. Sorry in English, scusa in Italian, and lo siento in Spanish. But what is this song about? Well, according to the frontman, the song can be described like that. The song tells a story shrouded in mystery and urbex, a passion that we have cultivated in recent times and which consists in the exploration of abandoned and dilapidated structures such as villas or factories. Our intention is to experience the summer with different atmospheres than usual. So that summer is not just umbrellas, sea, and drinks on the beach. Because it's true. Generally, summer songs in Italy are very tied to the whole environment, to the whole scenery of the beach. So we have the very famous sapore di sale, taste of salt, referring to the salt in the seawater. And of course, there is often the image of the heat, the beach in general, the sand, spending times party, but always in a sand-like environment, because it's true that for many Italians, summer means going to the beach, going to the sea. Here it is a summer song, but more niche. It tells the story of all those people whose summer experiences are not tied directly to what is considered more mainstream. So, I don't know, party at the beach or spending days, your afternoons and whatnot, having fun at the beach. This doesn't mean that having fun at the beach, like the classic way to spending summer, is bad. It is just a different perspective, so that you can have, because there is always this thing that summer songs are about experiences, mainly related to when you are young. So when you're young and you're spending your summers, what do? Generally you go have fun at the beach, right, with your friends. Now, this is to give a different perspective concerning all of those people who maybe go party, but not at the beach, maybe in abandoned houses and generally abandoned structures, so more Gothic. And in fact, the idea of Gothic is quite present. Let's go check it in the lyrics. One last thing about how the lyrics and generally the song is structured. It is quite a classic summer songs concerning the structure, because we have verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, pre-chorus, chorus. So if you listen to the rhythm, which is a little bit reminding of another song of, like, generally other songs by Pinguini Tattici Nucleari, such as Giovani Wannabe, which one day I may analyze, because I really, to be fair, I could analyze all the songs of Pinguini Tattici Nucleari because they are very interesting. I really recommend them on the side of the lexicon, but also on the syntax, play on words and whatnot. And also because they often reference to what is happening in Italy, generally speaking. So it is very relevant and gives some interesting insights. So to be fair, I could do the analysis of the whole discography of Pinguini Tattici Nucleari. However, in this case, we have the classic summer vibes, but the difference in the lyrics. So it is a song that apparently, if you just listen to it, seems like a classic summer song. But if you think about what the lyrics are saying, so if you properly understand the lyrics, you see that it is actually quite of a gothic atmosphere. So let's go check it. As I said, we start with the classic verse, where you have a verse, a section of the song divided in two, but it is not a group of four like it is more usual for this type of song. So, what is the first verse saying? Era una notte così calda che sembrava la finale del mondiale in Messico. Lei non sapeva dove andare per ballare l'hyperpop. So, we have the setting of, our environment, the setting of our story. It was such a hot night that it felt like the final of the World Cup in Mexico. So, most likely this is a reference to the football World Cup in Mexico, because just remember that generally when in Italy we say i mondiali, il mondiale, so the World Cup, literally mondiale is just world as the adjective. But when we say il mondiale, since football or soccer is one of the most followed sports in Italy, generally we are referring to the World Cup of soccer football, so the football or soccer World Cup. And probably this is a reference to the football World Cup in Mexico, and I'm talking about the year 1986. Apparently it was specifically hot, I don't know. But there could be a subtle reference that I'm not catching myself because I don't know much about football/soccer. So if you know something more, let me know. And then we have introduced our first protagonist, because we are going to have two protagonists in this song, which, if you want, can also be a love song that you could dedicate to your significant other. So, she didn't know where to go to dance to hyperpop. Now, hyperpop is still quite of a niche, because when you go at the disco, you have more like EDM, pop song sort of situation. Hyperpop is more rave culture in a certain way. And then we have the introduction of the other protagonist. Lui lavorava come spettro nelle ville abbandonate, le prendeva in prestito per dare le feste più tristi di sempre. He worked as a ghost in abandoned villas. He borrowed them to throw the saddest parties ever. And here we have first the setting. So it is a summer song because we are talking about a hot night, so generally a summer night. And we already have the first protagonist who is more niche because she's looking for a place where she could dance to hyperpop. And then we have the gothic component, a ghost who's throwing the saddest party ever in abandoned villas, so the urbex element. And then we have the pre-chorus. Now, while the chorus is going to be to remain the same throughout the whole song, the pre-chorus will keep the same structure, but it will change. So, le chiese, resti qui? Te ne vai? perché fai l'ermetica? Poi mi dirai cosa leggi nei tarocchi. Silent Hill, Poltergeist, affittiamo un cinema solo per guardarci negli occhi. He asked her. Le chiese, fun fact, implies the subject because, friendly reminder, we can do that in Italian. So in this case, it would be in English, he asked her, because since the other protagonist is il fantasma, the phantom, it is he. But in Italian, technically, it is implied. So like, it's not explicit who is asking this. Are you staying here? Are you leaving? Why are you hermetic? Why you are a hermetic? Literally, why you act like an hermetic. So, this might be a reference to the Hermetic poetry, which is quite famous in Italy. I don't know in the rest of Europe, but in Italy we studied it a lot in high school, mainly during the last year. And generally, the word ermetico, here feminine ermetica, because it is referring to the girl, it means closed, enigmatic, incomprehensible. If said of things, for example, chiusura ermetica, hermetic lock, it means like completely inaccessible lock, okay, locking. Then you will tell me what you read in the tarot cards. I tarocchi are the tarot cards. And then we have two very famous movies, not only, but here, due to the context, I will say movies because it says Silent Hill, Poltergeist, let's rent a movie theater. So, and then just to look each other in the eye. In Italian, literally, the expression is in the eyes. So, Silent Hill. Silent Hill, it is not forcibly a movie, at least not in the first place, because the original piece of media, okay, it is actually a video game. And in fact, here I think the Silent Hill being mentioned is the first movie inspired by the video game saga, which is the movie which came out, which was released in 2006. Now, there are three movies or two movies and a series, I don't remember. It should be three movies, because there are three theatrical releases based on the Konami video game, because it's a video game by Konami franchise. The first one was in 2006. Fun fact, the last one came out this year, and then there is the one in the middle, which came out like in the middle of the two, so like in 2013, something like that. Now, what is the thing that... The first one, I really like it. I personally really like Silent Hill as a movie. I kinda liked also the last one released in 2026. The one in the middle, I'm not a fan. So basically, the second one is a sequel of the first one, while the third one is by itself. And the first one mixes like two games, while the last one refers to one of the games, but I don't remember which movie refers to which game specifically. Anyway. And the other one is Poltergeist. Now, this Poltergeist, I think, is the original Poltergeist from released in 1982, because it is objectively one big movie, like one of the most famous and representative movies for what concerns the horror genre. That's why I'm saying there is this gothic nuance in this song. So a gothic summer night, a gothic summer song, we could say. And then we have the chorus. As I said, the chorus is not going to change throughout the song, is going to be always the same. E allora, sorry, scusa, lo siento, conosco 1000 lingue ma non la tua, sono qui da tanto, troppo tempo, mi ricordi una, mi ricordi due. Now, so literally e allora and then and so it is an interjection basically that we use in Italian. Sorry, scusa, lo siento. So same word, same expression in English, Italian and Spanish. Why these three ways to say the same things? Because I know 1,000 languages, but not yours. Now, here I think it is a reference to Duolingo for a thing that is going to be said after, but I'm not sure. Maybe I am hallucinating. I've been here for too long, and you remind me of a person. You remind me of dua. So, what is the point? Here, let's start from the core of this part of the chorus. The reference to Dua. Who is Dua? Is Dua Lipa. Now, why? Concerning this, we actually have a statement by the frontman who explained in the official Instagram stories. Her album, Future Nostalgia, was initially supposed to have one song dancing with a ghost. At the last second, she decided to take it down. I don't know why. But years later, someone managed to find it and put it on SoundCloud allegedly. At least I think. It's not official, it's a leak, but you can find it there. When I heard about this story, I thought, how cool to have a ghost track called Dancing with a Ghost, and I wanted to pay homage to it in the track. So, the chorus, since we are talking about this love story between this urbex girl and this gothic phantom boy, we have the chorus built around this reference to Dua Lipa. Now, why am I saying that the first two lines, so, e allora sorry, scusa, lo siento, conosco 1000 lingue ma non la tua, so sorry, scusa, lo siento, I know 1,000 language but not yours is a reference to Duolingo, because on Duolingo there is this reference on the fact that Dua Lipa is the wife of Duolingo because Dua. So I think that maybe I am hallucinating, but as a reference would be 10 out of 10. Anyway, and then we have here a real play on words between una and dua. Now, in Italian we can say mi ricordi uno, mi ricordi una, sto pensando a uno, a una. So, uno and una are two variations of the indeterminative article, so literally what in English would be a. For example, una persona, a person, feminine, uno zoccolo, a hoof, un tavolo, a table. So we have these three variants, two masculine, un and uno, and then we have una, and then we have the alternative variant of una where we elide the a, so we have un with the apostrophe. Now, in Italian, sometimes we can just use it as a pronoun, so mi ricordi una. In this case, mi ricordi una ragazza, you remind me a girl, a woman, and or una persona. So generally we imply a name, a noun of feminine gender, grammatically speaking. So since we have uno, which can be a variation of the masculine article a, or the number, so as in one, here there is a play on words because in Italian one is uno, two is due. So instead of having uno and due, we have una and dua, okay? So this is the play on words. So it would be mi ricordi una persona, mi ricordi dua. So there is this play on words, uno, due. And then we have the second part of the chorus. where here it is confirmed that it is a summer song, l'estate arriva sempre ma senza avvisare, come la polizia che ci chiude il locale. E allora, sorry, scusa, lo siento, parole diverse ma stesso universo. Summer always arrives but without warning, like the police closing down our place. So, a reference to an underground culture. So, sorry, scusa, lo siento, different words, but same universe. So, different languages, different culture, but same meaning. And then we have the second verse. Lei era la figlia di una maga e un domatore di leoni, nata sul palcoscenico, quando saltò l'ultima volta tra la luna ed i falò. She was the daughter of a sorceress, a mage, and a lion tamer, born on the stage when she jumped for the last time between the moon and the bonfires. Now, here we have the description of these. We have some more information about the female protagonist, and we have a reference to a very famous and important piece of Italian literature, La Luna ed i Falò. So, what is La Luna ed i Falò? Literally, the moon and the bonfires, because this is the, I guess, English translation of La Luna di Falò, is a Cesare Pavese novel, the last one published in April 1950, a few months before his death. It is considered his masterpiece and a pillar of Italian neorealism. The book recomposes the author's human and literary experience in a work of symbolic realism. This story follows Anguilla, a man who returns to the Piedmontese Langhe, so a very specific region in the region of Piemonte, after years of emigration in the US, accompanied by his friend Nuto. Through a continuous alternation between past and present, the protagonist retraces the past of his childhood, discovering that the mythical peasant world has been destroyed by war and historical violence. Because, of course, he left Italy before the Great Wars, and then he came back, and what he romanticized as his own culture, of course, got devastated by the war. And then the song continues. Si dice che siano scappati tra le righe di una novel di Edgar Allan Poe. Si muore una volta e si vive per sempre. It is said that they escaped between the lines of a novel by Edgar Allan Poe. You die once and live forever. Now, I don't think I have to explain who Edgar Allan Poe is. Just little note, it is one of the icons of the Gothic culture, and that's why we keep having like Gothic nuances in this summer love song. Of course, the summer love song is just one interpretation, otherwise it's just about fun and experiences that you can live during your summer. And then we have the pre-chorus. As I said, the chorus is going to stay the same, but the pre-chorus changes a bit. Le chiese, resti qui, te ne vai, sembri malinconica. Se non mi vuoi, questa fuga è solo un gioco. Ouija board, cabala, affittiamo un Luna Park solo per cadere nel vuoto. He asked her, again, same thing as before, are you staying here? Are you leaving? You seem melancholic. So this is the part that changes. And since she seems melancholic, as in probably she ran away in the world of the ghost, but she's missing the rest of her life, he says, if you don't want me, this escape is just a game. Very important thing that is often not mentioned in many songs. Consensus. If you don't want to stay with me, you can go. and everything we've done together was just a game, was just a fun experience. And then Ouija board, which in Italian would be literally tavola Ouija, but didn't fit the metrics as much as the English version. Kabbalah, let's rent an amusement park. Luna, it's literally moon. In Italian we call it Luna Park or Parco Divertimenti, literally amusement park. Only to fall in the void, probably a reference to the feel that you have when you go on the roller coaster. Then, as I said, the chorus is the same. And we have at the end of the chorus a very little bridge because it is only one line and then the rest of the bridge is completely instrumental. Vaghiamo come fantasmi nello stesso universo. We wander like ghosts in the same universe. Because if we go check the pre-chorus and then the chorus, the last line of the chorus is parole diverse ma stesso universo, different words but same universe. So the bridge echoes that when he says vaghiamo come fantasmi nello stesso universo, we wander like ghosts in the same universe, so we keep with this gothic nuance. Then we have once again a variation of the pre-chorus, which is resti qui, te ne vai. This time we don't have le chiese. Questa volta per davvero. Are you staying here? Are you leaving? This time for real. One more time suona per i corridoi. One more time plays through the corridors, where one more time is the famous song by the French electronic music duo Daft Punk released in November 2000, and also like always to reference the hyperpop mentioned at the beginning. Sempre noi nel via vai affittiamo un cimitero solo per ballare da soli. We always as we come and go, let's rent a cemetery just to dance alone. And then the song closes with a repetition of the chorus. Now, as you can see, the song is quite brilliant and simple at the same time because, as I said, if you just listen to the song, and I really recommend listening to it because personal opinion, it is very cute, very nice, very summer vibe. If you just listen to the song without listening to the meaning of the lyrics, it's like, oh look, just another song, just another summer song like Giovani Wannabe. But if you really go and listen to the lyrics and you understand what the song is about, you see this different nuance, this different point of view of living the same vibe. Because the whole point here is that you can be alternative, you can be gothic, but this doesn't mean that you have to be always sad. You can have fun, you can have your summer vibe, it's just a different lens, it's just a different point of view. A little bit against the thing that to be alternative or even worse to be goth, you always have to be sad. No, you can just have fun in your own way, but it is still you can still have a summer full of memory, full of fun, just like it is described in other summer songs. And that's why I really liked Sorry Scusa Lo Siento, and it was worth being mentioned in this summer song dive during this summer 2026. Anyway, now let me know in the comments what you think about Sorry Scusa Lo Siento by Pinguini Tattici Nucleari. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. Grazie everyone for watching and arrivederci.